Yeah, Denilto is is a really good person around other animals. Just saying. And yeah, I do understand Shaded's perspective as well. Again, it's not necessarily a bad or a good thing, it's just how you'd approach that situation. Actually, if anything, it's kind of framing it like that, it almost feels like an ethical question. Like, would you sacrifice yourself for the sake of several other people, given a specific age, or given that, say, they had a disability, as opposed to able-bodied people? And there won't exactly be a right or wrong answer to those types of questions. If anything, I would actually argue that inaction is the only wrong action in these situations. Specifically because inaction is, by itself, refusing to change the situation. And if a situation looks dire, then me as a person, I feel like we should do what we can to try to change it if it looks like it's a bad situation. Again, it's an ethical question, and a pretty complicated one, too. Did an experiment in class with a trolley accident. From 31 people, only 2 people you included answered? That's exactly what I mean, actually. It's an ethical question. It's not necessarily a matter of which answer is right or wrong, but who would act in the first place. And more often than not, it's sad to say, the average human will refuse to do anything for anyone other than themselves. I'm just gonna come out and say it. The average person is selfish and corrupted and not a great person. Oh, shove it. Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. Really? What'd you say to me, you little... Ay. Faux fear orb. Of all things, I get into an ethical debate, and suddenly Pokemon's like, the heck do you say to me? Ay. What do I got? Set. Let's start flinging thorns. Deontay wants to do zoology. Yeah, that sounds like him. Actually, it's kind of a pleasure having a conversation like this. But then again, I'm also one of those types of people that like seeing how people think and respond to a question. So it's not exactly too out of the scope for me. I would say it is a compliment, Shaded. Because, putting this into perspective, oh, you've got to be kidding me. Why do these guys... Why? Why does one of them have acupressure? Imagine liking to teach people. Well, I understand that. It can be difficult trying to show people how something works, or Explain something. Actually, if anything, I don't have a great way of approaching this situation. I mean, I could do a guaranteed 30 damage to a Pokemon, but even if it's 30 damage, it won't necessarily be an instant KO. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Knock off? Knock off! Cringing. So, can't use moves. Okay, no longer cringing. Celia, did you seriously go after the Pokemon that was already harming? Really? If you feel completely useless, don't. Trust me. Every person has their place in the world. No one is useless. Absolutely no one. How to approach this situation? In the worst case scenario, I could Reviver Seed and deal with it. But I would rather use my Oranberries first. Let's see. 8 days ago, gave 200 euros worth of gift cards. Honestly, that's not a bad idea. I've run into... Actually, I do have a story on that, but I'll save it for a little bit. Addressing Muffin. If you feel completely useless, don't. Trust me. Don't. No one is ever useless, no matter what they might say. Just because it looks like something is a little bit hopeless right now doesn't mean that it will always be that way. There's always going to be hard moments in life. It's just a matter of trying to put yourself in a better situation. Denilto is right in some way that one of the things that you could do is just take a moment to relax, think about nothing. Specifically because it will help you reframe your mind. Sleep is something else that could also work, because again, it gives you a situation where you could reframe your mind and recheck yourself. Posture check. Done. Muffin. Madam. Is it lovely little Fennec? I wonder where my water went. I wonder where my water went. Oh, good. That was a dicey situation. Glad that's over with. Yeah, petting a nice little animal would also help. There's a bit of science on that. I won't bore you with it. Just the way I approach that specifically is you're using more of your brain power to do something other than worrying, and as a result, you're giving yourself less stress. Specifically because you're committing less of your mental ability to the act of worrying, and more of it to, oh, look, adorable animal. Let's see. Person who doesn't care about death. Death. Yeah, exactly! Actually, a lot of my family is like that, too. Part of it, for at least my mother, my father, my sister, they all had to work as nurses for a while. My dad still is a nurse. My mom still is a nurse. They've seen death quite a bit, so it's just kind of been another thing for them. Night, Muffin. I hope you get some good sleep. Stay safe. I feel like death is kind of one of those things that looks all intimidating and everything, but if you get into the certain situations, it kind of loses its effect on you. Yeah, exactly. One of those situations is seeing a person die in front of you. Like, once you've seen what death looks like at one point, then it kind of just loses its hold over you. You realize, oh hey, it's just something that exists, something that, sure, it looks threatening and everything, but it's not necessarily something you have to commit mental power toward. Yeah, and that's one of the big situations about it. For the average person who would fear death, they see a person who doesn't as an irregular, which is by itself mislabeling it. They're not irregular, they're just learned. There's a distinct difference in that. Let's see. Zenkugger is ending. Refresh my memory. What is Zenkugger? Only thing that touched me, death of parent. Got over in a couple days, can speak freely about it. Yeah, again, you were mentioning before that you weren't sure if you should take being called mature for your age as a compliment or an insult. I would say compliment specifically because of a situation like this. It means you're adaptable. It means you can adjust very quickly to the situation that you're a part of. And better, not just make the most out of the situation, but figure out what to do next. And for the average person, that's pretty difficult to do. The average person will spend a long time thinking about something because, well, I could go more psychology on this, claim that it's like they've learned to be used to it to the point that the moment they don't have it is when they start to worry about it. Again, it's an instance of learned behaviors and psychology, and it's weird to explain. It's also, in some cases, very hard to explain. Yeah. If it looks like something you can't change, then there's no sense in worrying about it. It's a very practical mindset. Again, it's one of those mindsets that isn't bad or good, it's just a way of thinking. But again, unfortunately, the average person likes to categorize things into good or bad because it makes it easier to understand. Which also by itself isn't a good or a bad thing. Just, in some cases, it's really, really bad. Why? This is the second monster house. Why? And I'm out a Fohold Orb. Oh, no, wait. Sit down. Let's see, Zenkugger, current Super Sentai. Okay, then. The Scorpy were unaffected. Oh no, the Scorpy were unaffected. Okay, go away. Still waiting for Brazil. Yeah, I'll agree with you on that one. A South American Pokemon region would be really cool to look at. I bet it would be full of a lot of trees and nature. You gotta be kidding me. Acupressure removes Petri. You gotta be kidding me. F. This is a dicey situation. This is a really dicey situation. So many ground types, too. Ah! Okay, Ember, you gotta be kidding me. Okay, something I'm going to need to do. Really? Game! You couldn't let me have one little thing like that. Fine. Oh, for the love of... I'm actually gonna be burning Reviver Seeds for this. That's 3 misses in a row. Only believe in the scientifically possible. Yeah. It's a valid perspective. Totter. Fight amongst yourselves, please. Ugh. What a pain. Believe in stuff that's scientifically possible only. Believe that there's aliens and future people, cause superpowers. Again, I understand that too. Like, people are entitled to believe what they want to. But at the same right, if it gets to be... I'm of the mindset that if it gets to be too dangerous or malignant to other people, then it's not safe for them to believe that. Specifically because they could be endangering other people. I'm very much a person who is pro-life, and I prefer to be around... I prefer to have people think what they want to think, provided they're not bothering other people with how they think. Exactly. What? Sand! I hate sand. It's coarse and it's irritating. And it effectively put out the flame on my tail. You know what? Fuck it. I'm commemorating this fucking sandstorm. Who wants to name them Mawile? Because seriously, after having to go through 2 monster houses in a single dungeon, burn up all of my healing resources... Steve. It's a girl! It's a girl, Thanos! Chomper. Still Steve! know what? Let's combine the two. Let's see. The walk. I call Geodudes to walk. That's adorable. Look at the walk. It's so special. I love that name. I love that name. If we find a Geodude... What the heck are you two doing here? You were just outside being all like, yo, should we do anything about our friends and family out in that hole over there who are getting absolutely eviscerated by a fiery lizard and adorable fox? Yeah, no, let's do nothing. Let's sit here, watch, think about what we did. Good for you, Noodle. Ow. Call the Pokedex the Dewakadex. What's that, Dewakamon? Maybe that made Soulless. Oh, so, in that case, I guess we're kindred in arms, Shaded, because I've kind of been... I actually had a similar life. Teachers didn't like the fact that I was so... that I seemed to be a lot more clever than the rest of the group, and as a result... In some cases, they were absolute dicks to me and my family. In other cases, it was students. Ugh. Elementary and middle school were the worst times of my life. What type of deck do you prefer? Dick, not dick. Anyway, I honestly have no idea. I need to tamper more with certain types of cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! I happen to like using a lot of synchro monsters since they're simple to build around. Beatdown control combo. I'm going to have to think about that. Because considering the decks that I have currently, I know I have Trap Tricks, which is, I'm pretty sure, a control-type deck. I run a Black Lusters, which is a beatdown. And I also have Dragunity, which I believe would be combo. Well, a mix of combo and beatdown. I guess my big shtick when it comes to Yu-Gi-Oh! Is I want to be able to repurpose as many units as possible. How much of an Unga Bunga? Celia, what are you doing? Celia! Oh my god, Celia, what are you doing? Oh my god, Celia. Let's see. How much of a meta? Ugh. I'm sorry to say, but I've never been a person who likes meta decks. And I don't have to roll Color Orb. Oh, shite. This could be a problem. I don't have a way of calling Celia back to me. Shit, I thought I could... Yeah, this is looking like a wash. I may actually have to escape Orb, just so I don't lose anything. It's a shame, but I was caught off guard by that. In League, off meta... Yeah, honestly, I'm not exactly a person who likes playing meta, because I want to be able to think through my situations and not just immediately go to the shortest possible path for a solution. It's not fun to me. For me, the ideal match is one that takes a decent amount of time, and one that has a decent amount of back and forth. Unfortunately, because so many people like playing meta and like winning, I don't really get too many of those types of matches. Super Heavies might be one I want to look at, yeah. I do like the idea of being able to attack with your defense stat. Actually, it's something I might want to consider using for remem at some point. Like, some type of equipment that specifically has you attack opponents with your defense stat. Let's see, beaten meta stuff by pure skill. Nice. Yeah, I think Chomp Steve can handle the Scorpy. Ultimate Joey style deck, only monsters. It's only got monsters! Actually, if anything, that's starting to sound a little like my, a little bit like my Dragoonity slash, Why did I use Ember there? I'm an idiot. Dragoonity slash, Black Luster. They don't have too many they don't have too many spell or trap cards. Ah. Sleepies. Let's see here. Are those decks from the new Yu-Gi-Oh? Dragoonities are specifically Generation 3 Yu-Gi-Oh, so 5Ds, if I remember correctly. Ah. I know Black Lusters are relatively recent Vrains, if anything. Because, like, there were already some Black Luster Soldier-type cards that existed, but there wasn't exactly an entire deck based around them, specifically because, well, it was impractical to do ritual summoning. There's a lot in Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm sorry. But yeah, Super Heavies were introduced in Arc 5, which is 5th generation Yu-Gi-Oh! If I remember correctly. Let's see, Brown Bow. Get my equipment back on my Pokemon. Yeah, it really is, because as part of story maps that they give, they will actually give you tutorials on how the different methods of summoning work. Ooh, Feint Attack. That sounds tasty. I think... I'll get rid of Sweet Scent. Yeah, Danilto's not wrong on this. If you could think it up, then there are somehow cards based around it. Actually, if I remember correctly, there are a bunch of cards that are literally named, like, Danger! Or Danger? And they're all wild animals, or Tsuchinoko. Let's see, Desert People, I believe that one... I'm trying to remember the name of that specific one. Because, if I remember correctly, that one also has, like, a one-shot condition. $55 pots, agreed? Yeah, Medolce, that was it. Thank you. Because I remember, like, there are, I think, 3 specific archetypes with ways to just completely one-shot the opponent as part of its effect. I think it was Medolce that was one of them. Like, one of their Exceed monsters has this thing where if they get a certain amount of Exceed tokens, then you just win by default. Yes, they are. Actually, they're banned from the game almost entirely. There are other methods that you could do for card draw, and especially nowadays, where the graveyard and, hell, having cards be banished isn't a death sentence. Yum. Delicious Sand Slash. Next floor. But again, there are other ways of card draw that have trade-offs, but even then, the trade-offs aren't as bad. If I remember correctly, one alternative pot-type card has you banish 3 or 6 cards from your extra deck, and then draw on top of that. Another one banishes the top 10 cards of your deck, and then lets you draw... Together with one of the... Pot agreed, one of the cards from Yata Lock. Yeah, that sounds accurate. Like collecting stupidest shit. Hey, if you like collecting something, then who am I to stop you? I also can't judge. Yep, banish 10 cards from your deck. Let's see, I remember there's also Jar of Greed, which is a trap card that just lets you draw 1 card. I think that one is fine. If you wanted an immediate 2-card draw, if you wanted a 2-card draw at some point, then you could also invest in Shard of Greed, which gives you which gives you an extra 2 cards after a few turns. There are also ways of just straight up excavating certain cards from the deck in order to use immediately, if you wanted to invest those down those roads too. Let's see, almost no way to interact with cards banished face down. Okay, so that's the trade-off on that. Did I just miss 4 Fire Fangs in a row? Let's see. Stairs were this way. Let's head to those quick. Get me off of this floor. You can use my money how you want, if provided you've earned it. In some ways, people care about such entities like Jeff Bezos because they actually do use their money to corrupt people, which is a bad thing. Again, I'm of the perspective that it's fine to do what you want with what you have, but the moment you start affecting other people, and in a bad way, that's when things should start to come into question. Yatalok was a 2-card combo. Gave your opponent no cards in the hand or field, unable to draw either. Cripes. That's disgusting. Yeah, actually, on the subject of Elon Musk, if I remember correctly, he did make, like, a tweet at some point being like, yo, I want to give some money to help with world hunger. And they were immediately disproven about that. They were immediately called out by, like, a relief organization. Same day, if I remember correctly. I didn't expect to see this. A huge lake extending underground. There's something glowing over there. That light, I'm sure I've seen it. That's it, I've got it. It's the same kind of light we saw at Fogbound Lake. So that means it has to be a time gear. If you set up the Autolock against the CPU, they just surrender. Well, you can't blame them, can you? There's nothing they could do in that situation. Wait. What? Who are you? Who said that? Why? Why did you come here? Why? We just came to look for a time gear. Stay away from the time gear. If you won't leave the time gear alone, I will stop you. Who are you? Mesprit. Here at the deep underground lake, I protect the time gear. Protect it? I won't allow you to disturb it. Get ready. If you can prove 15 billion people can cure world hunger, I'll donate. You get an answer, but it was so full of BS. All it showed was how split they'd be and how to solve it. Jeez. That would do it. Actually, this is the perfect opportunity. The grimy food. Fuck, my one solution. I've lost 2 grimy food for this, because, Mesprit's caught the one, so that means it's not gonna let me recover that when it dies. Smokescreen. Chew. Do water Pokemon have an underwater society? Potentially. I don't know if it's, like, mentioned at any point. Oh, for the love of gods, am I going to actually have to drink another bottle of water? I don't have any water! If you give me a few moments, then I'm going to go get some water. With your permission, I'd like, with your permission, with your guys' permission, I'd like to put up an ad quick so I could go get. Actually, no. Just, I need to get water. Couple moments, and again, for the uninitiated, I do tack on additional time for any time that I spend doing something, because I figure it's only fair. If I'm taking up some of your time, it's only fair that you take up some of mine. Be right back.